Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson, and I need a drink of water because I've been talking and shooting these videos, and holy cow! So, today's topic is, what triggers dysphoria? Well, the answer is, what triggers dysphoria for you? Really, honestly, what is it? Well, for me, where should I start? Because dysphoria has been all over. But the weirdest thing is, when I was non-binary, I did not have dysphoria. And then when I began to acknowledge that I was a trans woman, or when the landslide of the realization was that I'm a trans woman, that's when all of the dysphoria kind of hit. Because when I had to say, I'm a woman, now there's all these things that don't match because I want to be this idealized of a version. Version. I'm not a virgin. Where am I? No, I'm not a virgin. But a version of yourself. And that's a whole nother aspect of managing dysphoria, which is managing your expectations and also what that idealized definition of a woman is. That's something that if you change, your dysphoria will change. I can guarantee it. That's for sure has happened for me. Compare yourself, like for me, I'm a tall woman. Started comparing myself to tall women instead of shorter women that are banging. And I like them, but they're banging, and I can't do that because I'm not 5'10". I mean, I am 5'10", I'm not 5'2". But yeah, what triggers dysphoria for me now versus what is different. I used to have chest dysphoria. I don't have that anymore. I like my boobs. Sometimes I want them to be bigger, but that's just for pornographic reasons. Because, I just want to, do one of these things for my boyfriend, and I can't. It's too small. But just for that one little thing. I'd say my hips and my stomach and my rib cage can give me dysphoria because my hips, they never expanded. Like, chair, please. If I kind of like back it up, these hips, they're kind of like square here. There's a little bit, and this makes it look better, but if I kind of bring it down here, it kind of just doesn't look so good. And so I never got the expansion here, and that kind of makes me sad from time to time, and then it makes me feel like I have these super broad shoulders. But honestly, I don't focus on that aspect of the dysphoria as much as my face. My face gives me the most dysphoria, and it's typically right around this area. And that's why I got chin surgery. That's why I went to a specialist to get that fixed, which is a weird thing to have just dysphoria around this particular area. Do you have particular areas that you focus on? Maybe it's because the focusing on these areas can enlarge the problem, but I've just always had that kind of a problem with this area, and I've been always trying to figure it out with all of the surgery that I've had. When your dysphoria gets triggered, maybe that's what we're talking about, managing your trigger, because the triggering of gender dysphoria can escalate and rapidly get into a place where it can feel debilitating. And if that process begins, sometimes it's hard to manage that. I was talking to a friend the other day around the concept of being triggered. And I think this is an interesting thing to dig into a little bit and how you define it and how you perceive it, because I think in a liberal sense and also in a far right sense, the word triggering is sort of like to imply that a human gets triggered and has a reaction. There's like a causal relationship, and there's no conscious aspect of the individual of choice or reflection. So action happens, which leads to a trigger, which then leads to a result, right? But I don't really see the human consciousness and one's ability to control one's thoughts as that. There is this action that it could be negative, and then perhaps there's a triggering response. And if there's a triggering response, then the person can choose to respond to that triggering response by going into their typical response, such as if someone calls you a name, a bad name, you get triggered, and you can respond back by insulting them or crying, and you can consciously decide that, or you can unconsciously decide that if you are used to doing that. So like if you always insult someone when they call you a bad name, you just do that. But you can also decide to not respond, or you can decide to say, you know what, hey, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. I hope that you have better days, and I'll see you later, bye. And so there's this in between, I think, that the triggering aspect, you can get triggered, but you can change the direction of things. So when you get dysphoric, try and catch yourself before you go too far down the line. Triggering kind of kicks off this subconscious process where your breathing might change, your body feelings may change, and your anxiety brain or what's going on in your head can completely transform and start operating on their own in a way where it's kind of a subconscious process that's been kicked off. But I found that if you can catch yourself right at that triggering moment, you can kind of hold it together and create a different response to what is happening. And with enough practice, you can kind of insert yourself in between the action that would trigger you and the response that you get out of your body, and start to reprogram your brain and your mind and the fear and the anxiety around that thing that could be triggering, so you have it less. The other route to kind of like working with your gender dysphoria is to just get surgeries that fix it. I've heard from some people that just getting a vaginoplasty just cured everything for them. And that's fantastic, right? Would you want to spend 40 years just thinking about why you don't have a vagina and how you can get through it and just accept yourself? That takes so much effort. Sometimes it's just better to shortcut things and to just go for, let's say, a surgery that could change things. That's how I've treated my own surgery with my face. Yes, it would trigger me to see him in the mirror. I didn't like it. It would make me unhappy. But I had some money saved up and said, you know what? This is going to make me happier. It's going to give me an experience that's going to be better for me. And I just want to get rid of that. I just want to start fresh and new. So, that I took that route. But there's parts of me that I cannot change. And sometimes it does trigger me. But at this point, I think that my relationship with gender dysphoria is, all right, I ain't going down that path. I know where it goes because I've been there before. I don't feel good about going down there. I don't feel good about necessarily what I see, but I don't need to listen to that story. And maybe this is something you can say to yourself, hey, I see you, gender dysphoria. I acknowledge you, but I don't need to go down your path with you right now because you're going to take me somewhere that's not going to make me better. And what use or productivity do you get out of beating yourself up for not looking exactly how you want to look, or not having that gender that the way that you want it to look like? Like, how do you perceive your own gender and how do you relate to it? These are some of the questions that you should ask and think about when you're thinking about gender triggering stuff. So if you would like to see more videos, subscribe to my channel, join my Discord group. We talk about this kind of stuff there. And if you'd like to support me, hit up my Patreon. It's all links down below, and it supports me. I'll see you in another episode soon. Bye.